Jaguar. Jag. Wokeness gone mad. Call them what you want, there's no denying that they've made some headlines, with everyone and their nan, and their bigoted uncle, having an opinion. And now, over half a year removed from the launch of their now infamous rebrand, the hysteria still hasn't died down, amid rumours that Jaguar have fired their ad agency? But is that actually true? Because in fact, it might be the opposite, and they're doubling down. And besides, should we even care? So join me in this video about a great British brand where I buy some sweets, complain about the weather, and launch a smear campaign on a national newspaper. Stay tuned. But first, let's set the scene. Back in 2024, Jaguar announced that it was essentially going to be taking a gap year from being a car company, ceasing production of all its current models before coming back with an all-new, all-electric lineup starting in 2026. You know, like that person you knew who went backpacking around Thailand to disconnect and find themselves. Presumably that means they're going to come back with excessive amounts of armpit hair and a collection of ridiculous necklaces, but unfortunately for everyone else, they stayed logged into their Instagram account so we could see the cringe happening in real time, and holy shit, this metaphor has gone too far, hasn't it? Anyway, back to Jaguar. There was a new slogan, a new logo, and of course, that advert. They also deleted every trace of their past selves from their social media channels, and safe to say, all of that caused some controversy. It became mainstream news here in the UK, and the pitchforks were out. Cries of "go woke, go broke," and they're erasing their heritage. But why? I mean, sure, the new advert looks more like it's advertising a feminine grooming product than a car, but then again, wasn't their old logo called the Growler? I'm sorry, I do have a point though. When that advert launched, they didn't have a car to advertise. A short while later, they would unveil the Type 00 concept car, but we'll get onto that. Now, was the advert terrible? Yes, without a doubt. But if Jaguar's aim was just to get people talking, then it certainly did that. The rebrand permeated popular discourse to a scale that I don't even think Jaguar themselves were expecting. Even if a vast majority of that feedback is negative, Jaguar seemed to be eating it up. Which brings me to the rumours that Jaguar have fired their ad agency. Because despite what you may read in the Daily Fail, that's not true. Accenture Song, the agency responsible for that Copy Nothing advert, are under a review by Jaguar Land Rover's creative board. But any business does this periodically with their contractors. It's nothing more than a formality, and it absolutely does not mean that they're getting fired. In fact, they have a contract through to the middle of 2026, and by all accounts, both publicly and from insiders at Jaguar, they're loving all the eyeballs on their brand currently. They now know that when their first new production car is unveiled later this year, people are going to be waiting with bated breath. And probably rotten tomatoes in their hand too, but hey.
I just thundered everywhere.
Let's address one of those criticisms for a second though. The notion that they're erasing their identity, because what actually is their identity? Jaguar is a company that's worn a lot of different hats over the past 100 years. They've been poor man's Astons, they've been rich man's Fords, they've ruled motorsport, and they've been fools in motorsport. They've made some of the best looking cars in the world, and some that weren't. They've tried to make cars for the mass market, but a couple of them have been the world's fastest. They've made cars that they probably shouldn't have, and didn't make cars that they probably should have. Poetry aside, my point is that Jaguar's identity has never really been consistent. I mean, there was a point in their history where they weren't even called Jaguar. From 1934 to 1945, the British brand was called SS Cars. Yeah, alright, fair enough. Let's take their "It's Good to Be Bad" advertising campaign from about 10 years ago. where Jaguar tried to position themselves as the car of the villain. You see a Jaguar pull up outside and it strikes the fear of God into you. I mean, sure, that worked on me, but that could just be my personal trauma speaking because my boss has one. For the rest of the public, one could also argue that that was a little bit contrived as well. The fact of the matter is, that strategy was not working. Sales were declining year on year, and an aging lineup wasn't helping matters. Jaguar had to try something because their heritage and history, the old boys with their pipes and slippers, were only going to take them so far. It clearly wasn't enough to keep the company going, no matter what Dave53 from Burton-on-Trent has to say. Right, I know I've played devil's advocate a lot in this video, but don't get me wrong, I still have my fair share of criticisms about this rebrand. The new font with the random capitalized G in the middle infuriates me beyond belief, and that JR monogram thing looks like it was plucked straight out of Zoella's advent calendar. Jesus Christ, that's a niche reference, isn't it? And then when the car actually comes to market, there's the matter of the ownership experience. Jaguar dealers are famously terrible, and while this is a new era of the company, the car's still going to be built in Birmingham. The irony is not lost on me that a company famed for electrical issues in their cars is now making an all-EV lineup. And then there's the matter of depreciation, which is going to be rougher than the travertine stone that you can place in the cabin to adjust the ambient lighting and cabin aroma. And yes, that is a real thing, I am not making that up. So whether this will all work out or not is questionable at best. Especially from the test mules of the production car that we've seen so far, they don't seem to be straying too far from the design of the concept, meaning that the front end may still resemble a Percy pig when it gets to showrooms. But at the end of the day, who really gives a damn what I think? I mean, hopefully you give a damn enough to get this far in the video, but still. The fact of the matter is, it's not for you or I, and that's okay. It's like when your favourite band releases an album that's a bit crap. The old music is still there for you to listen to and love, just like those old Jaguars are still out on the road, or more accurately by the side of the road in a cloud of steam, but still. Jaguar carrying on doing what they were doing was a surefire route to failure. I can applaud them for at least being bold here. Sure, it may not be flying, but it could be falling with style. Put it this way, I'd rather Jaguar survive than the publication that calls a chicken sandwich woke. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace and love.